All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Crafts with John. I think I've calmed down a little bit. I had the worst show this morning. Oh my gosh, I'll leave the video up, but man, every fiber of my being wants to delete that whole debacle from this morning. It was terrible out there. Maybe I should set my alarm earlier. I generally get up, at about 6:45 or so, get a cup of coffee, brush my teeth, head out to the garage, just do the show. No warm up, no nothing. Boy, it showed today. Holy crap and crap. That was terrible out there. In all sorts of ways. Terrible thrower, but that's to be expected, right? I'm not a controlled shooter by any means. I have good days and bad days, and I think I'm getting better, but I don't expect to be shooting 10, 15 every single time. I do expect to not have 11 straight shots where I don't get 2 rolls. Like, that would be nice to not have, point number 7 out 11 times in a row like we had today. It wasn't that bad. It seemed like that, but that was frustrating as all hell. More importantly, though, I screwed up the strategy. I forgot to put the odds up on the don't pass for the first 5 shooters, and which screwed up my bankroll. It was incorrectly reported. Then I had a point of 10. I hit an 8, and I typed in a freaking 10. Got the whole Craftsy messed up. Everybody playing Craftsy got screwed on that deal. Mea culpa, man. That was terrible. I screwed up the strategy, the Craftsy, the whole damn thing. It was an awful morning. So I was fuming in the garage. You probably could tell a little bit. I was pissed. Bad vibe at the table. That's the time to get up and go away. That said, though, honestly, the strategy did all right. Let's go back a screen here. The strategy was fine. Hybrids do what they do, right? Hybrids, the knock against the hybrid is that you're doing nothing. Right? You're not picking a side. So rolls happen all around you, right? The don't pass can get hot. The numbers can get hot, and you're down there just getting $5, $6, right? In our case, 30, 40 bucks a hand, doing nothing, waiting it out, right? And that's the bad part about a hybrid. The good part about a hybrid is that we have 2 days. We're 1-1 over 2 days. Today we won like 30 bucks. Yesterday we lost a couple hundred. 2 days, we saw 150 rolls between the 2 days. We're within spitting distance of showing a profit, right? It's not a great daily paycheck yet because we haven't caught a shooter yet. If you catch a shooter, again, the hybrid sets you up to catch a shooter. We never caught a shooter. So if you catch one, boom, there's your daily paycheck. On its own, it's gonna grind. You're gonna need 15, 20 shooters to make money on the average table. Right, and I think what you saw today, as bad as I say I was, is a pretty average table. You're gonna have a few 0.7 outs, which we did, 2 or 3 of those. A couple of guys set a point, hit the point immediately. A couple of guys get 3 or 4 rolls. That was a pretty normal table. There was nothing extraordinarily good or bad about the rolling today. And this strategy did basically nothing, which is, I think, a good thing, right? If you're out there to protect your bankroll and win on a goodie, you had opportunity today to win on a goodie. We just never got a goodie. So that's it. It is what it is. Hopefully tomorrow we get better rolling and we get a better result. But as it is right now, the hybrid is not a way to make a quote unquote daily paycheck. Daily paycheck's got to be a quickie, right? I say this all the time. Daily paycheck should be low volatility. It should be lower house edge you can get, and it should be in and out, right? The bet's got to be high enough that you can be there for less than 20 rolls and be done. Less than 20 rolls, a shooter or 2, and get the hell out of there. That's, to me, the perfect daily paycheck. That's not the unicorn. The unicorn is something different. Unicorn's looking for, skyrocketing. The paycheck has got to be low volatility, relatively high bets, get in and get out quick. I don't want to be out there all day long. So something like Jen was talking yesterday where they were playing the 3-point dolly, which can set you down pretty quick and come back okay. That's a good paycheck because that's going to get you in and get you out. On a first person 7's out, you're out of the casino, right? Waylon's new the 110, 100, which I love that level, by the way, right? 3 hits, gone, bye-bye. You're out. You're in and you're out. You don't got to sit there for 78, 80 rolls to get your money. That, I think, is to me, like the longer number of rolls you see is the worst part. So there it is. We'll keep running it this week. Hopefully I can catch a roll and we can make some money at this damn thing. But right now you're seeing hybrid play at its absolute best. Yesterday, we had 15 7s out of 40 rolls or whatever the hell it was. The 7s ratio was like 2 or something. Today, We had the 6 was the hot number. The 7 was actually running behind the 6. Same result. Both days we tied, which is kind of interesting. So hybrids are what hybrids are. All right, let's move ahead. A couple things to go over here on the come out roll. One is going to be the Friday Night Fights with Brian and Leon from Jason, by the way, and Gray Craps. Just working on scheduling. Make sure we have that figured out. That's going to happen for sure. Back on the pattern. Nemo, by the way, Nemo, you should. I don't know if you can. Try putting the link to your YouTube channel in the chat. I don't know if it'll take it. If it doesn't take it, moderators, when he puts his link in the chat, you may have to approve the message because it's got a URL in it, which isn't normally allowed. But Nemo opened up his channel last night. He did a little test live, which was cool. He did a Crapsy show. I subscribed to him, so yeah, it won't let you do it. I figured it wouldn't. I can do it for you. Do me a favor and send it to me, and I'll send it in later on. I'll make sure everybody has it for tomorrow. I'll put it up here tomorrow so we have it. I just forgot to put the link here today, so I'll make sure it's up tomorrow for you. But yeah, so Nemo has now joined the YouTuberverse, and he's now a content provider. So welcome to the family. As you know, man, whatever you need, we're here to support you. Whatever you need, we're here for you. So it'll be fun. The fantasy championship clearly is on hold. So last night, as you know, Kathy was playing Chili in the championship. Chili had Jamar Chase, and we just needed Jamar Chase to get less than 27 points, and Kathy would have won. You know what happened, right? If you watch football at all, you know what happened last night. Damar Hamlin had a cardiac arrest on the field. I don't know if you say hi in chat or whatever, if you watched that last night unfold live, that was messed up. When he went down, my wife was in the kitchen like, oh my God, that guy just went down. Like I saw the hit and I saw him stagger and fall back. And I'm like, holy crap, that guy, I said, I think he broke his neck, because I thought, oh shit, did he just the brain just put out the last electrical pulses to his body and then he took 2 steps and then he went down? Like what the hell happened? But he had obviously cardiac arrest. And as somebody who coached kids, I coached kids my whole life, right? So in baseball, you may not know this, but I'll let you know. For those of you who have kids or grandkids out there playing sports, stop all the chat and listen to my words right here. They sell a thing at Big 5 Sporting Goods, at Dick's Sporting Goods, online. It's called a heart guard, okay? What happened to Damar last night was he got this sudden impact to the chest at just the right time, and it stopped his heart, right? It broke the rhythm of the heart, and he had cardiac arrest, okay? Complete heart stoppage, no blood flow anywhere, boom, dead. He was dead on the field. I can tell you he was dead on the field till they revived him, right? And again, I've lived through this. You know my story. I had the exact same thing happen to me. I was dead on the ice in front of my teammates, and I got CPR'd on the ice during a hockey game, just like this guy last night. So the cause of that is the sudden impact of the chest. If you have kids that play sports, soccer, baseball, whatever, they sell a thing called a heart guard. It looks like an Under Armour t-shirt. It's almost like a tank top, and it's got this big plastic thing. It's like huge, not huge, but it goes right here. You can't see, it's my phone, but it's about the size of a phone, like that, and it goes right in front of your sternum, basically. And it's shaped like if you look at it, it's shaped like a diamond, or it's shaped like a triangle. I've seen 2 of them. Okay, it's a big piece of plastic. What it does, it takes the impact and it spreads it out across your chest instead of localizing it to the heart. Okay, get it for your kids. My son caught baseball. He was a catcher in baseball. He took 1,000 shots, foul balls to the chest. He wore it every single time. He pitched. I coached. All of our pitchers were required to wear those things because kids are dying because a rocket shot from the batter right to the pitcher, they don't have enough time they're throwing the ball, their gloves out of the way, they don't have time to react and catch. Boom, they take them right to the chest, and you look it up. Look up how many kids die every year from that sudden impact of the chest. These heart guards are like literally $30. It's a t-shirt with a thing on it that spreads it out. You have got to put your kids in those things. You got to put your kids in those things. Whatever sport they play, it just reverberates the impact away from the center, right? Because Jed, it was a horror show last night. There's no way that should have happened. Now again, pros don't wear those things, right? Because you don't think of it. They had the shoulder pads. The old days, the shoulder pads came down, right? The old days they came down to here, right to about your breast line almost. Now they're a little taller. He took that thing straight on and literally died last night. We saw a man die and got revived. It was crazy. Get the heart protector for your kids. If you're a coach, require every kid wears it in every sport. Soccer, baseball, football, softball, volleyball, whatever it is, get them in those damn things. I can't, and tell everybody you know that you heard about this thing called a heart guard, and tell them about it. It's the most important piece of equipment you can have. Because I've seen it. I've seen kids take that ball to the chest. They didn't die, but it knocks them way back. And you think like an inch lower, that kid's dead. 12-year-old kid. Look that up. It's scary stuff. So anyway, watching that last night was crazy, man. It was like, I'll tell you what I did. And again, you guys know my story. I'm not going to repeat it, but I actually reached out to my hockey teammates. I haven't seen my hockey teammates from the day that I had my problem in 15 years, 17 years, because I played a year after that and then I stopped playing. But I reached out to all of them. I'm like, oh my God, sorry guys. Because watching the teammates watch him go through that was horrifying, right? That was like the most impactful thing, was watching them watch him get the CPR. And I brought back, like, God, my teammates watched me do that. My teammates went through that with me. They watched a teammate die and get revived in front of them. That must have been traumatizing. So I was like, holy shit. So I went and emailed everybody last night. Like, I'm so sorry you guys went through that. But yeah, that was a scary event last night. And by all accounts, his vitals are fine, but he's still out. So you got to hope that they didn't lose blood flow to the brain for Jamar last night. So I'm hoping, praying for him. If you're the praying type, obviously get it out there. So get your prayers up. So that was a real thing last night. It was scary as hell to watch. And I was up till probably 2:00 my time watching news, trying to catch up with it. And I'm working on no sleep. It hit me pretty real. So anyway, there you go. There's the come out roll for today. Let's go back and gather ourselves and talk about craps a little bit. Let's go here. I'm going to get and continue the talk that we're having, because this is what we talked about yesterday. This is the be afraid, be very afraid stats. Okay, and I want to go through this because you saw it again today. Yesterday and today were such good examples of this, right? How many times today did I not get 2 box sets, right? The whole point of that strategy, right? I'm not sure if I can draw on screen. You can see this. Let me just see if I can do it. If I draw, can we see? No, we can't see. Wait, maybe you can. Can you see? No, you can't. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. The number there, that the first one in pink, the number 2, okay? That is the number of box hits we need in the storm, right? The storm, you set a point, you get 2 box hits. You come down, and then you come down again, and then you're out of the hand. You need 2 box hits, right? Look at this. About 35, 40, 36% of the time, you don't get 2 box hits. You only get 1 or 0. I would say that was about today, right? About 40% of the time today, we didn't get our second box hit. It's hard to just get 2 hits, right? As good as the storm is, right? You need that don't pass in the odds to save your life in this situation, which this situation here happens constantly. Today was a perfect example of it. So when I say be afraid, this is the reality of craps. 2 hits after the point, it's 40% of the time. This is 36%, but about 40% or so is about what you can expect not to see that. So be aware of that, right? And then we started pressing a little bit. Again, today we're talking about pressing. I'm going to show the numbers again. I'm going to show these every day this week because you don't know when somebody catches our show for the first time. So you got to look at this and know where we are again, right? This shows you stats for the 4. The stats for the 10 are about the same. This is an experiment that I ran about 1.5 years ago with 10,000 automated shooters, okay? I've got about 6,000 rolls tallied between my random and my controlled practices. I can run those rolls through the same matrix and get you about the same numbers, but I want to get the numbers higher. I want to get more numbers, more rolls to really get the stats to kind of distill in. But this is about where you are, right? On about 63% of the rolls or points that are set by shooters, you don't see a 4 after the point's been set. That's a huge number, right? Maybe 23% of the time you see 1 4 or 1 10 get hit in a roll, okay? When you're covering all the numbers, this is the likelihood that you're going to see. This is about right. After the point gets set, this is about what you're going to probably see. Most of the time, no fours. Sometimes one. Less than 10% of the time, you'll get 2 fours hit. Less than 10% of the time, you get 2. So you're pressing that 4, hoping for the double tap. Guess what? You got about an 8% chance of it actually happening. So be aware of that, okay? The 5 and the 9 aren't much better. You're about 56% of the time you see 0. 24-ish% of the time you see 1. About 10% of the time you see that second hit. After the second hit, it's garbage. It's 4%, 2%, 1%. It's awful. And the 6 and 8 are no better. Okay, they're better by a percentage point here and there. They're tiny percentages better. So it's not good, not looking good for you unless you're Alfredo or George, right? Or sometimes me when you have a great shot, right? Or Jeff apparently, or East Coast. Right, the guys that can shoot and they're consistently in the 15s or whatever, they're breaking these numbers, okay? But even they will PSO, and they'll tell you that straight up. They're not going to always have the great numbers. This is the numbers that are real. So remember these. Remember these numbers. It's very, very hard to get multiple hits. Okay, Skill says, I did read your text, Skill. Let's go here. I did read your text. Skill and I worked on a bit of a unicorn play, and there's some interesting stuff that I've gotten, and I don't have enough data yet or not data, but I have the data. I don't have enough, what's the word I'm looking for? Not time is the wrong word, but I don't have enough juice to put it out here yet. When we look at a cross betting, the bet across for 1 hit, Michael Shackelford has given me the house edge on that and how to calculate it. I've also looked at, with another friend of ours, Myopia Movie, who's a math genius, what it looks like from an EV standpoint to bet across, and take 1 hit, 2 hits, whatever it is. So we're looking at like, what is the likelihood of getting the 1 hit that you need or the 2 hits that you need across all the numbers to get out? Because these numbers that I'm showing you here are true for a single number, okay? But if you've got, let's say a 20-ish% chance for any one of the numbers to hit, what's the chance that any one of the numbers hit? And so we're looking at what the house edge could look like or what the EV could look like on that level. And what's the risk of ruin based on trying for 1 hit every shooter? So I've got numbers on that. I just don't have the right way yet to present it to where it makes sense. It's a lot of calculus and it gets kind of quality. So I'm definitely I'll present that skill, but I want to present it in a way that makes sense, if that makes sense to you. So there, yeah. Texas, yeah, I know you have short rolls too. I've seen you have some short rolls. We're not all great. But what I mean by that, Alfredo, is consistency, right? I'm going to say more often than not, you're a great shooter, but you've got a pretty solid shot and a good, in my opinion, a better chance of seeing 6, 7, 8, 10, 6, 7, 8, 10 than I see you doing 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 40, which is what randoms typically end up doing, right? That's where I see it. I like to see potential consistency. So anyway, the numbers of the 8, the 5 and 9, and the 4 and 10, like I said, they're very, very scary numbers, and it leads you to here. It leads you to here, where if you add those up, 21 plus 14 is 35, plus 11 is 46, plus 9 is 54, right? Plus the odds in there. 55% of the time, on average, you're not getting past roll 3. Not roll 3, but hit 3 in the box. Okay? So when your strategies require 3, 4, 5 hits to make money, that is what you have to keep right here, front and center, right? More than half the time, you don't get 3 box hits. Remember that. Remember that at all costs. Now, let's go talk about pressing like maniacs, because that's why we're here. We're here to play craps and win all the money. Let's go to the table and say, John, you're an idiot. Why are you doing this? Why are you telling us how destructively scary the game is and the numbers are, yet at the same time, you're going to go to your table and tell me how to press, okay? What's the reason for that? I don't believe that same betting every single time is a way to make money over the course of time. The house edge is calculated on average bet, right? They're looking at the bet and they're saying, well, let's take the 9, okay? Two numbers, 2 units in the 9 should pay you $15. What does it pay you? You all know this answer, right? It pays you $14, right? They screw you for $1. When I say screw you for $1, you should get paid 3 to 2, based on probability. You get paid less than that. You get paid 7 to 5, right? That seems like it sucks for you, and it kind of does, I guess, right? But this is how they make money, right? If they paid you even, they never make any profit. They wouldn't be able to put the shows on and have the great restaurants and all that stuff. So there's a reason why the dollar is built into all the bets, right? That the house edge there. But if you're going to give away $1 every single time like this, you're going to over time bleed a little quicker than if you pressed up a little bit. As you press up, that house edge doesn't go away, but the impact on your life gets lessened because you're making a little more money as you go. So yesterday we talked about the guy that's going to do a same bet every single time. I'm going to do the same comparison today. We're going to move these bets out of the way. We'll work the 9 because it's simple. And I'm going to work it like this to where every win pays $15. We're going to pretend like that dollar wasn't there. I don't want to have a bunch of white chips on the table. But let's get the same bet person here. And let's simulate like 5 hits. I'm going to work these bets here over the course of 5 hits. So the same bet person we know is going to make whatever 5 times 15 is, okay? It's 30, 60, $75, right? That's what he's going to make. In 5 hits of the 9, he's going to profit $75. And let's say you take your bet down after 5 hits. He's going to make $75 plus his bet back, okay? Yesterday we talked about a person doing a simple up and pull. Okay, up 1 unit every single time. And we know that by about roll 3, they started to overcome this person here. Today we're going to look at the mid press, or half pressing, as it were, okay? So when we half press, it's a little different, and I've heard half pressing described in a couple different ways. And I think this is an interestingly safe way to do it. And let's just take a simple example. Okay, the first time the 9 hits. And again, I'm going to pay it a straight up $15. I don't want to mess with pennies. For the sake of demonstration, that's okay. Half pressing can be looked at in 2 ways. One, we have a 2-unit bet. We can press by 1 unit. Half of what we have on the felt is what the press amount is. I've also seen people half press their profit. So take half of what they won and invest that whole half back into the thing. It doesn't matter that much how you do it, although this way here will end up putting more money out here. You're going to end up winning more than your bet. So your half presses from the profits end up being a little bit more. So we can look at it both ways. We'll see if there's a difference as we go. I want you to see how this plays out. But let's say my rule, Johnny rule, first win on anything is the same bet. Get your money back. Get your money back, same bet it, no matter what. Now, on this case here, when you're half pressing and you have 2 units out here, you technically could press by half of your bet, which is 10. You press it by half, and you've still collected your bet back. As long as your first collection pays for your initial bet, you can press. So in this case, on a half press, it totally does, right? We can definitely go and say, well, we're not going to same bet it. You don't have to do that. You could same bet and lock up a nickel profit, or you can say, well, we're going to be okay with tying and go up by 1, right? By half of our bet. Now we're at $15. Half of $15 is $7. So you can't press by $7. So when we win, and that pays $21, there's the 21. Again, we're not going to worry about the pennies, right? It pays $20 essentially. Okay. When this pays, what's half of your bet? $7. You can't raise by $7. You're gonna have to decide to round down or round up. Okay. Half of that is 7. Rounded up is 10. So your half press becomes a $10 bet, and you're still bringing back $10. Guess what? You're behind the other guy. I'll color it up. You have a quarter out here now, okay? And you're actually $10 behind the same bet guy. Isn't that interesting? In 2 hits, you have double the opportunity to win, but you're behind them. And if you remember the numbers I showed you, right, the be very afraid numbers, this on the 9 has about a 25% chance of happening. This has about an 11% chance of happening. This next hit I'm going to show you has about a 7% chance of happening. So 7% of the time you're going to get to here, okay? But let's say that you do get that dude that has the third 9, right? And it pays $35, okay? Half of 25 is $12.50. Okay, again, you can't press by 12.50. You can press by 10 or you can press by 15. Okay, if you look at half of your bet, you can press by 10 or 15. If you look at half of this, half of 35 is about 17 bucks. Again, you can press about 15 bucks. You look at that and go, well, the right thing to do is take color and press red, right? Press the change, keep the color. This time you round it down. You could have very easily broke this up and brought that 9 to 40 bucks. We'll leave it at 35, okay? And what is that gonna pay? 50 bucks, 50 for one, essentially, right? 50 for one, $49. So how do we get out of this? What's the next move here? Well, you can take half of this, right? 35 cut in half is about 17, 18 bucks. You could say press by 20, which is easy to do. You can take a nickel back and throw them a quarter. You're at 55 bucks. That's pressing by 20. Or you can make it easy and just take the 10 and press by a quarter. You're still getting about half of your press in there, and now you're bringing back money. And finally, we've overtaken this. There's 15, 30, 45. There's 20, 35, 45. It took 3 hits to get even. The 4th hit, you're finally ahead of the other guy. And again, this down here, about a 4% chance you get the 4th hit. So even half pressing, which is a powerful way to press, right? You'll see how this thing builds up, because now you're at 50 bucks out here, which pays 70 bucks. It's easy here, because half of your bet is a quarter. You can go to 75 and take all this back. So you can see that half pressing compared to yesterday when we did the up and pull, look at how much more you're getting in the long run. Like, it really grows your profit and your opportunity, because the next one of these, 75, pays 105, right? That's a beautiful thing, right? Because now you're gonna be able to jump this thing up here by another 40 bucks. 75 cut in half is about 40 bucks. You can take that back to take a black chip back to your rack and bump her by $40, right? And now you're cooking. Now you're really cooking. That's an interesting way to play. I think the half press is powerful. This is Dylan's favorite way to press. It's an underlooked way to do it. But again, right, you have a 50% chance of it never ever hitting, right? I'm putting the thing in your way because a 50% chance none of that happens. Remember that. Most of the time, you're not going to see anything, okay? You got about a 25-ish% chance on a 5 and 9, about a 22% chance of that happening, of your first hit ever showing up, okay? That's a real thing. That's a real number. Yeah, I millions of trials I've done this. I can prove it. This is it. About 22 to 25%, you're going to get one hit on a 9. You should same bet your first hit all the time, or at least get your money back. My heartfelt, scientific, conservative recommendation, same bet your first one. And now you're getting into your second hit, 8 to 10% on the 5 and 9, 11-ish, maybe 12% on the 6 and 8. You might get a second hit. You might get a second hit. It's really, really hard to get that second hit, okay? And again, these are not 9s rolled, because you may set the point of 9 and get 1 9 after the point. That's this right here, right? That's if you're working the pass line, if you're a regular person, you're not shooting, and you're off, and they roll a 9, they will have rolled a second 9, right? But to you, it's the first one. So think about this. When you're pressing, I can't say it enough. This right here, you got it. You got a same bet. You got a same bet. Now, you're going to call me a hypocrite, because all last week before, I was working the tier pressure strategy, which is an aggressive double full press everything. Remember that? Full press. And I got emails saying, John, you're a degenerate. What are you teaching us? Right? Remember my words from last week. You don't do a tier pressure. You don't do a full press. You don't go with the permanent press. You don't go with any of those things that are going to be super aggressive until you're there. Okay? As an example, we ran, I'll give you the kind of the why behind the why on that. Let's get these things out of the way. Actually, I'll leave these here. So I want you to see them. But let's set ourselves up with a quick across bet. And I'll put all this back later. If you were to do the squeeze play. Actually, you know what? I should clean these up because it is kind of, I made my point and these are just in the way now. I don't want to confuse the table or make the table look confusing. So let's take this out. Point made. Don't forget the same bet. God, if I play it with you at a table, you know what's funny? If you take a Golden Touch class, the Dominator will tell you, if you don't 5-count me, qualify me as a shooter, I'll never play with you again. And I would tell you the same thing. If you don't same bet to get those things back, right, I might give you a little stink eye. It's really important to do that, okay? Now, let's look at the squeeze play, okay? I'm gonna show you this, and this is the reason why this is important. And this is basically the same thing as what we just saw with the storm. Actually, we can set the storm. We'll do the storm. The storm is a better example, maybe. We'll set the storm up at 2 or 320 across. Okay, let's have it $100 don't. We'll catch a point. It'll be a 5. The 5 bet comes down, and you have your odds. Your 180 in odds. There's your storm. Okay. Now I'm going to force this to happen because you know my rolling, but I'm going to force a couple of hits here. I want you to see something. Okay. There's a 6, which pays $70. Those come down. There's an 8, which pays $70, and everything else comes down. So we're all back, right? Everything comes down. The odds come back. Let's take a look at where we ended up. This is what I love about the storm, by the way. There's 100. There's 200. There's 25. 250. 275. We had 270 out there, right? We're even, which means these bets here are covered. Okay. Now you saw me in the garage this morning, right? We did what? Every time we hit a number, we did a same bet to lock in a profit. So let's hopefully we don't get a 7 here, right? We'll get a little come on. 4, great. It pays $50. Okay, $50, same bet, lock in profit. Now what do? Tier pressure. This is when I go tier pressure because I've got my money back. I got a little bit of locked profit. I'm 3 rolls into this hand, 3 hits into the hand, right? Which I know puts me behind. Now I decide, do I want to be the person that does up and pull for each number? Do I want to go with a half press for each number? Or do I want to go aggressive like I do and go all in, and pull it down and go a 3-hit tier pressure, right? You can decide at this point your attack plan, but you got to get out of the hand. You got to have the same bet profit to lock something up. No matter what happens here, I'm $50 to the good. Then you can be aggressive up in here. It's the timing of this. You don't come out of the gate and just go, unzip it and slap it on the table and just go to the freaking ceiling like a maniac. You cannot play that way. You'll get destroyed, right? The casino wants you to do that. That's going to destroy you. Getting out of the hand, locking up a little bit of profit, and then being the maniac, cool. I'm down with that because you locked up a little bit of profit first, right? Once you get to this point where you've locked up that profit, now you can decide, how am I going to do it? What's my attack plan? Is it up and pull? Is it going to be a $35 9 that starts to look like, hold on a second, a $30 9, and you're pulling that? Is the 40 that pays, or I'm sorry, $30 that pays 42. Let's see, why can't I do my thing? Does that just go to that and you're locking all this up? Or are you gonna half press it and go from 35 or 30 to 40 and from 40 to 60? You can decide that, right? And that's what I'm here this week to show you, is all the different ways you can think about pressing, but I wouldn't do any of them. If I was gonna be a pure, unadulterated right side bettor, I would do none of these presses until I was here and here. That's why things like the squeeze play from Casino Quest, where you go inside and go outside, 2 hits and you're playing for free. That's why the storm, 2 hits and you're playing for free. That's why the wedge, 3 hits and you're playing for free. And I say for free, which means the bets here, if you lose them, you wouldn't lose money out of your rack. You'd be back to even again. Those strategies, unicorn style strategies where you're getting out of the gate safely, you're taking 2 hits to get even, maybe show a tiny bit of profit. That's where you can, I don't want to say beat this game, but have a chance to beat this game. Then you want to go ahead from here and do the 1 because you got profit, go. You want to get here and you want to play Waylon's Mind, go. You got profit to play with it. You want to get here and you want to hyper press, fine. You can use this money here to hyper press. You want to get here and you want to do the permanent press that Vince is working with you on, fine. You're even, you got some money, use that money to do your permanent press. But don't come out of the freaking gate and toss your money aside. That's where you got to be careful, okay? So that's my message. Again, we saw it this morning. We saw it yesterday morning, how awful a bad roll can be on you. And if you're in here and going full press, full press, full press, and I go point number 7, you're going to lose every single dollar you have. Be careful. So there it is. That's my soapbox message for you this morning. So I'm going to come back over here. Actually, I'm going to do something. I'm going to fix my light first, so I have to get up. Fix that stupid light in the back. Then we'll come back and talk. All right, here we are. You still afraid? Be afraid. Nemo, I love your hyper pressing, right? I would only ever do that once I had the profit to do it from. I'd never hyper press from my rack, right? Get even, make some money, use your made money to do that strategy, and you're fine. You got to be careful about it because, again, the reality of it is this: 50% of the time-ish, not getting that third box hit, right? Your strategy had better be one that requires 1 or 2 hits to get you out the gate, right? This is the reason why I had Shackelford do the house edge calculation for 1 hit and down, right? And why I had Myopia Movie doing the risk of ruin for 2 hits and down, because I wanted to see what is the likelihood that we can survive life with a 1-hit strategy. 640 across, take your 140 on 1 hit, and then go and play, right? Is that viable? Is that stupid? How often will you lose the 640 versus turn that 160 into 640 to recover? How often is that? That's what I'm trying to figure. How often can you afford to lose 1 hit versus how often will you make the 1 hit? And that's kind of what we're looking at. So there it is. All here in the name of safety, right? I think it's fun. Craps is a great game. If you're a recreational player and you're trying to hit a home run every time, ways to do it, but I think you should always do it from a position of strength, which is getting out of that damn hand. Get out of the hand in a couple of rolls, and then you can play as aggressively as you want to. I'll typically play more conservatively, but that's just me, right? I want my money to come home. If you're going to Vegas with your $5,000 bankroll and you want to go for the ceiling, go for the ceiling. Just do me a favor and get even first, right? A play like the Storm is a great way to get yourself, as you saw today, get to that point where you can go crazy if the shooter goes crazy. I never went crazy today, so we ended up treading water, but that's the way to do it, guys. That's the way to do it. Get yourself in a position of safety, then hit them hard. All right, there we go. Yeah, no repeats kills the hyper press, right? But again, if you're going to be hyper pressing, do it from a position of even, and then you don't care if you don't hit them, right? That's the point. Get even first, get a little bit of profit. Use your profit to make the play. Don't use your bankroll to make the play. I think that's the number one message I have. I had to do a whole show on that. Use your profit to make the play. That's the thing you got to remember. Don't use your bankroll. Don't use the money you pulled out of the ATM machine to be the hammer. Use your profit as the hammer, not your actual money. That's an important thing to remember. So there it is. Can I explain my tier pressure changes? Yeah, sure. I'll show you them if you want me to see them. Let's go to the table. I'll show you the change I made to it. And the change I made to it actually was in response to some of this stuff here. So let me show you the change in it, because it was kind of a, you know, we say in my school, do you have a growth mindset? Okay, what does a growth mindset means? It means that you think you're right and you're not, and you learned something and you apply what you learned freely, right? So in other words, you're okay with being wrong. Let me show you the old tier pressure. And I think the old tier pressure still has merit, but I think that the newer version of it, I think, is a little bit better. We're gonna go out here. I'll show it to you at 250 across. I like the 250 level because the math is easier. $40 5 and 9, $60 6 and 8. That's 200, and of course your 25, 4, and 10. Now the original tier pressure and the new tier pressure work the exact same way. All right, let's get, I'll try and get some numbers here and see if we can make this work. There's a 4 for the point. And let me see if I can get, I'll make that the point. We'll put it over here. And if I have to contrive it, I'll contrive it. I don't want to hit the point. Let's get another number. Nothing but 4s, right? There's a 9. 3, 8. Okay, cool. 1, 2. Looking for 4 hits if we can get it. Another 3. There's a 6. That's the third hit on the box. I'm doing this so that we can, there's a 5. I'm doing this so that we can see the pattern here. This is a hard pattern to get, but getting 4 box hits, as you know, freaking nightmare. Tier pressure is designed to do either 4 hits or 1 number rolls twice. That's the first phase. It's up to 4 hits. In this case, it was 4 hits. The second phase of it, if I can get it to work, there's a 4, which is your point, which kind of sucks. Another 4. Good Lord. I'll tell you what. Let's not hit our point. Let's get 2 different numbers. I want to do it in the same roll so you can see it. There's a 10. I'm putting this out here because it's like phase 2. Actually, we need an inside number. That won't work. There's an 8. 6. Okay, we did it. There it is. We actually did it without 7ing out. So phase 1 and phase 2 is tier pressure. Okay, phase 1 is this, the first 4 hits. So let's play it out. Okay, and again, I would do this after I've already won 250. You got to win 250 to do this. Let's say that we did. We're playing. This is for free. Okay, 549 pays $70, 50, 60, $70. Okay, we full press that. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. At 55, it pays $56. You drop 4. Okay, this goes to 100. So the first hit on the 9, you drop $4 and it goes to 100, like so. The 8 hits, it pays 70. 60 pays 70. We take the cap off, press it up, and it looks like 120. Okay, let's make that look like color. 8 goes to 120. 6, same as the 8. You're gonna win $70. You're gonna go to 120 with it. Take back your cap. Like so. 5 hits. Again, same as the 9. It pays $56. Now here's what's gonna happen. It's the 4th hit. 55, $56. You don't stack it, you collect it. So what we do here is we look at what did this part of the strategy do for us? Okay, the first phase of tier pressure is this. If we take this and put these bets back the way they were, which is the way you have to look at this thing, let's get our 9 back to 30. We'll get some greens for a black there. We'll get our 9 looking like 30. We'll get our 6 and 8 looking like 60. And what you have is 225, 250, and some change, right? The first phase of tier pressure wins you, in all cases, what you had out there. So you went out at 250, your profit is 250. 250 and a little bit of nickels, right? Whatever it is. So what I used to do was then say, great, we've got 250 and 250, 500, let's go 440 inside and try for 2 more hits. And go from 440 on this hit here, take it to 550. From 550, we come all the way down, okay? If we do that, let's remember this. I'm gonna put this here first. I'm gonna go ahead and do this. I'm gonna go 250 down here on the pass line. Remember that was our win. 256 was our win, okay? I'm gonna set this up at 440 so you can see what the second phase of tier pressure used to be, okay? There's your 400. There's 20. There's 40. You're going to take back about $50. Okay, there's your 440. The first one, it pays 140. You do your 110 press inside. It makes all these look like 550 inside. like so, which pays 175. Okay. Now, if you get past phase 2 of tier pressure, you end up with this. There's your $250 that you started with. You take whatever you had here in profit from the first piece. 1, 2, 3, 4, 550. So if you go through tier pressure in both, if you get both phases to work for you, right, you end up with double your initial spread plus 500. You end up doubling that as profit. Those last 2 hits end up doubling your profit, which is amazing. However, you can never get to the 2 hits, right? I play this, and it's so hard to get these hits. On a hot roll, sure, you can get there. On a short roll, you necessarily can't get there. Okay, so here's how I've changed it. Okay, so this is what Chris wants to know. What's the new tier pressure? Is this? I'm going to go back out at 250. Let's assume that we did the first phase only. 250 across, you won 256. Remember we talked about same bet up and pull? I would same bet it. I took 250, I made 250, same bet. Yeah? The next time, if we pull this off a second, not these two here, if we pull off phase 1 a second time, you'd win another 250. You'd have another 250 down there that you would have earned from the second time. So again, same bet. Now we go up a unit and pull. So you same bet the first one. Now we go 500 across. And the same thing. We do the same thing again. 500 would win you 500. I would pocket 250 and go up by 250 more. 750 would win you 750. I would pocket 500 and go up by 250. 1,000 would win you 2,000 or another 1,000. I would pocket 750 and go up to 1,250. So every time you do it, you up by 1 level, 250, and go pull the rest. So it's up and pull, but now I'm only doing four shots. I'm not trying for that second tube where I squeeze in. That was too volatile. I could see doing the squeeze in when you're at roll 30 and the shooter's going crazy. Sure, that's when you would go a little bit more aggressively, but this is tier pressure now. It's just 4 hits or less, right? If we happen to roll this, a 9 followed by a 9, you're out of it in 2 hits, right? You're out of it right away. So that's the new thing, Chris. It's basically an up and pull, but it looks at all the bets as one giant bet. Does that make sense for you? Yeah, the collapse to the inside is gone. I do the collapse to the inside now only if I've collected like 3 or 4 times, then it makes sense. But honestly, it happens so rarely that it just seems like it's too much to get to. So that's the thing, Chris. We just remove the collapse to the inside. Makes it, I think, a little bit easier. So there it is. I think that's it. Any other questions? Let me check PCs up here. PC. Let's go. Let me go here, actually. I'm just checking I'm checking the chats over here to make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, so Skill Luck says his version is up, pressing up to half the winnings, right? Remember I showed you can press half of your bet or half the winnings. Either way, you press half the winnings, you end up getting a little bit higher because you get those extra nickels every so often. And that'll work out. Skill Luck also wants to know, when am I showing the next version unicorn? Probably next week. This week I'm working on pressing styles all week, so the unicorn doesn't fit into that just yet. I want to come back to it again next week. And next week is a good time because I'll have a better slide or setup to talk about the house edge and talk about the risk of ruin on those numbers. I got to really get my head wrapped around the way to explain it so that it makes sense. Because it's you're getting into some heavy statistics and calculus. I want to make sure that I can distill it down in a way that's consumable. So give me a few days on that. So other questions that came up. Anything else live here? Ooh, yes, Vince. I know this is not a question, but I saw your comment here. Prism Live Studio is good stuff. I did a little beta test of that a couple weeks back. That's good stuff. It's very, very cool. It's better than OBS. It's not as good as Ecamm. Ecamm is still the best, I think, in my opinion, but it's good. It's really good stuff. So, all right, that's it, guys. I mean, I think we were probably talking to Nemo about that, but anyway, that's it. 9 o'clock, good show. Good show. Thanks for hanging in and hearing me out. A little bit of a rant today about the rolls in the garage, a little bit of rant today about pressing strategies, but hear me out. It's important to know that shitty rolls happen and you got to account for it and you got to play it smart. Play yourselves, play it smart out there. Pressing is great. Pressing is fun. It's where you make the bigger money, but you got to press from a position of strength. That's the most important advice I can ever give you. Press when you're strong. Don't press when you're weak. That's an important piece. And by that, I mean, you're weak if you're dumping money out of your rail and you're pressing with that. That's a position of weakness. Don't do that. Get yourself level and then beat the shit out of them. That's the way we do it. All right. That said, see y'all tonight for some more garage practice. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning again for day 3 of the Storm Daily Paycheck. And as always, God bless all of you. And prayers up for Damar. Hope that Mr. Hamlin comes through. I'm looking for some more news here, but yeah, prayers up for that. And again, I think it was said last night on TV. I'll close with this. A couple of guys said this. You know, as divided as the country is on a lot of things, something like that happens, and everybody goes whoop. We all come together. He's got a charity that he was raising money for, like Toys for Tots, like his own version of Toys for Tots. He had raised like $2,000 on a GoFundMe, like $2,500 on a GoFundMe. And last night alone, $3 million got donated to his charity. Like, people just don't know what to do. When something bad happens, they're like, oh God, I gotta do something. Like do something, Itis. They donated to his charity. They showed up at the hospital and prayed. People across the country are praying for this kid. Don't even know him. So you know what? We can come together, right? We just have to decide to. And I think that was, if nothing else comes out of this, you can see some of that. There was a little bit of a glimmer of that last night. So with that said, y'all, God bless. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great one. Bye.